When I came across this on Instagram, I said, let me go ahead and make a video about this because this is actually going to point to a narrative that I don't think I've talked about on my channel, but it's something I can definitely speak on for sure. So in this picture, you see two men. Of course, if y'all don't know, on the one on the right, that is James Gunn. You know, he's a director, producer. You know, he's about to come out with his last MCU film, which will be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which I believe is going to be the last one, well, the last run with this crew of the Guardians. And if they do make any more Guardians movies in the future, it's going to be helmed by somebody else, and it's probably going to have a new crew behind it. But on the left, unless you watch the show Peacemaker, you may not know who this is. I don't watch the show, but I have seen this man's face. His name is Chukwudi Iwuji. He is a Nigerian British actor, and he plays on the show Peacemaker, which is also a show that James Gunn does over, with DC, because now he's about to be over at DC. He's basically going to be their Kevin Feige for their universe that they have working on over there. But Chukwudi is cast as the High Evolutionary in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which comes out in May, and he is the villain of that movie. And James Gunn had to basically what happened was they had a test screening, or like an early pre-screening of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. He was putting out promos and everything like that. And he ended up having to respond to, of course, the usual suspects, the same people that Professor Black Truth talked about on his channel a couple weeks ago, where he was talking about how these white geeks and nerds, how their inner white supremacist comes out every single time something comes up that they don't like. But when I was scrolling through the comment section, not his comment section, it was a comment section on another page that posted it, someone had left a comment that literally triggered me to actually make this video. And I'm going to refer to that maybe somewhere in the article as I read it, or maybe towards the end, because I already skimmed through some of the article, and it's a comment that somebody left that lets me know that these individuals don't even follow their own set of damn rules. They make up rules for everybody else, and they make up rules for themselves, but then if they break their own rules, then they make some other shit in place of it, and then go with and kind of go with their own flow. But we're about to literally get inside the mind of how some of these people operate. But James Gunn ended up coming out and pretty much slamming the person or the people in that regard of what they said about the actor that he hired in order to portray this role. Filmmaker James Gunn has clapped back after armchair critics came for the increased diversity in the latest Guardians of the Galaxy film. And if you want to think about diverse, that crew is as diverse as it can come when you think about the look and the aesthetic of a team of superheroes. Like, they all don't look the same. As a matter of fact, there's only one human in the crew, and that's Star-Lord. Everyone else is from some alien planet. Gunn, the co-CEO of DC Studios, was excited to share a sneak peek this week of the franchise's third installment with Nigerian British actor Chukwudi Iwuji playing the role of the villain High Evolutionary. Can't wait for you all to meet this guy. Hashtag GOTG Volume 3. Hashtag High Evolutionary. Gunn posted on both Twitter and Instagram March 6. Along with the caption, Gunn included a picture of Iwuji in heavy prosthetics gearing up to play the character in the Marvel movie. Of course, some people were nitpicky about the diverse casting choice. One user said, "Damn it, another white guy they made into a black guy." One user commented under the Instagram post. Now, peep the comment I'm about to read, because this one right here, they really shot themselves in the foot, and it's going to remind me of, well, it did remind me of something they did when it came to how they casted Halle Bailey as Ariel in The Little Mermaid. This is, why couldn't they just leave him white, or, I don't know, pick a different minority? How about Asian, or gasp, a Latino? How many Latinos and Asians in the MCU? Like, total of 5. So this character is historically white. But instead of them saying, let's cast a black guy, based on what this person said, they said, let's go with an Asian or a Latino, basically white adjacent, or someone who is light enough that they won't care too much. This reminds me, going back to what I was saying about the Little Mermaid, I remember when they cast Halle Bailey in that role, people kept throwing out these two names, Zendaya and Ariana Grande. Zendaya is biracial. Her mother is white and her dad is black. So you would be going against the quote unquote source material if you casted her. But because she's light enough, she would be considered, by their standards, white adjacent. Then you have Ariana Grande, who I believe she's Italian. And you know, well, for the last 100 years, many, you know, the Italians, they've been categorized as white. But she's not blonde hair, blue eyed white. She would be considered back then as the dirty white. You know, back then, Italians were seen as N-words just like us until they were able to categorize themselves as white. I always tell them they're the recent white folks because they've only been categorized as white for like the last 100+ years. So when you think of the two people they would have preferred in place of her, of Halle Bailey, it's like y'all really aren't going by your own source material rules. And when this person said what they said, why couldn't they cast another minority such as an Asian or a Latino, even though this character comic wise is not even Asian or Latino, says a lot. They just don't want a nigga in that role. And it's not the first time they've done this, but like I said, if you let them talk enough, they will tell on themselves. And notice now, I don't know if y'all picked this up or not, but this is something I've been noticing. You know how they keep trying to do the black or brown thing with us in the south of the Borderian? Have y'all noticed lately that every time white people are mentioned, they throw Asians in there with them as well? See how they try to do a black and brown coalition? Well, now I'm telling you, for all intents and purposes, for whatever reason or whatever means, they are kicking up a whites and Asian coalition. Just peep how they are linking both of those groups together a lot lately in a lot of publications. And look at how a lot of Asians are towing the line for white people. You got Charlie Cheon, you got that Kenny Zoo. I've done, you know, me and Rob, we broke down that Charlie Cheon like a fraction. I've done 2 videos on Kenny Zoo. Look at the stuff that they say and how sometimes white people say stuff in pertaining to them to link themselves together like they're forming up to create something. Just wanted to throw that in there in case people didn't pick that up. It goes on to say, and this is still an extended comment from that same person. They said, or make him an Indian or something because they don't and won't. That makes them woke. So now you threw Indian in there. So now you want to throw another group in there that wouldn't be historically what this character is in the comics. So they threw Asian, Latino, or south of the Borderian, and Indian. And I'm thinking to myself, if you cast an actual authentic Indian, they'll be dark in complexion too. See, I tell you, let them talk long enough and they will tell on themselves. And then, of course, they mention the word woke. So that lets me know right there that this is a PC person all the way. But then again, you never know because there's a lot of us, unfortunately, who have adopted their version of the word. But I don't think that this was a black person that said this. Next time a major character, hero, or villain will be a trans or homosexual or non-binary when in comics they are not. Sad and pathetic, they're picking based on race and what's PC, their version, well, politically correct, and not on acting and what's established. And see, this also goes into the thing of making it seem like black people are only getting chosen to play these roles because they're being tokenized and not because of any talent, which also is a huge stretch right there. Because I don't know if y'all know, but they had dropped this trailer for that new Peter Pan and Wendy movie, and someone was able to pull up the dislike meter. It pretty much got dislike bombed the same way the Little Mermaid did. And why was that? Because Yara Shahidi, you know, from Blackish and Grownish, was cast as Tinkerbell. Now, mind you, Tinkerbell doesn't even talk. She's not even a love interest to Peter Pan. She's basically the sidekick. She's there to, you know, just be there and, you know, sprinkle the fairy dust and help, you know, Wendy and her siblings fly to Neverland. That's really all she's there for, unless they switch the story up. I don't know. I haven't seen the trailer. But of course, you know, they said that is now woke. Like, hello, are y'all not picking up what they literally mean when they say woke? Like, think about it. The person who left that comment about this actor saying, why couldn't they cast a Latino or a Indian or an Asian? That's not woke casting to them. Casting this black man, this Nigerian, was woke to them. They told on themselves. They always do. They can't hold back that inner dub S anymore. They gotta let that thing flourish. They cannot help it. But I bet you this movie's still gonna make a lot of money though. They say all this stuff online now, but watch that movie make a lot of money. It's gotten to the point now whenever I see stuff like this happen, I know in the back of my mind these triggered individuals are going to say something because they are a one-trick pony. They never veer off from the script. The article goes on to read, but Gunn read the social media user to filth. James Gunn says, I chose the best actor, period, and the best person for the role. I don't give a shit what ethnicity at Chukwudi _Iwuji is. Gunn replied, receiving an abundance of praise under the response, so stop with your racist presumptions on why he was chosen. And by the way, he's playing a guy who's almost always purple in the color. According to outlet Games Radar, Marvel Comics introduced High Evolutionary as a character in 1966. A character as in not a real person. All that was pertinent to High Evolutionary was that he was a geneticist who experimented on human-animal hybrids. That should pretty much tell you what character he's connected to in this movie, which of course will be Rocket. Because Rocket is a raccoon, but he has human elements as far as him being able to talk and maneuver as a human would and not just a regular raccoon. The scientist eventually moved to another planet where he continued to research, eventually conducting the project on himself, something that is not deemed white exclusive or black exempt. The Guardians of the Galaxy hodgepodge is just the latest uproar after black actors have been hired to play make-believe characters. Yara Shahidi, who I just mentioned, to receive backlash as Tinkerbell when a trailer for Peter Pan and Wendy came out at the end of February. And in September, bigots huffed online after the first trailer of The Little Mermaid featuring singer-actress Halle Bailey was released. People were also mad last summer when Moses Ingram played Reva in the Star Wars spinoff Obi-Wan Kenobi. And you want to know what's so crazy? I've mentioned all three of those. Well, I did two videos on two of them, the Moses Ingram one and the Little Mermaid one. I didn't do one on Peter Pan and Wendy, but what's the point? It's the same song and dance. They're going to continue to get upset, and these studios are going to continue to do it over and over again. It's like, again, I told someone on Twitter, it's a tit for tat thing. You got the studios doing what they're going to do. You got these, I don't even call them fans. These aren't even fans saying what they're saying, and it's going to be a constant bicker thing going back and forth. At the end of the day, the studios are the only ones that's going to be ones profiting. It's not like they're going to stop the whole world from going to see these movies. If you don't want to go see them, then that's fine. But there's an audience out there somewhere for them. And people love to sit and say that that racism is dead. Are you kidding me? It's very much still alive. This is all a part of the package. It's still very much here. And you got to worry that some of these people might have children and they might be teaching them the same damn thing. I think that might have been the entire article. Oh, wait a minute. No, it's not. I thought it was the end. However, others chimed in to echo Gunn's defense of Iwuji this week. Bro, in a universe where characters are white, black, green, red, blue, pink, you got mad because one is black? A social media used the question, which is what I said. The Guardians of the Galaxy has probably one of the most diverse character group or characters, period, in their world out of every Marvel property. Another user brought up Jonathan Majors' portrayal as Marvel villain Kang the Conqueror, adding, as long as the character is compelling, it's perfect, because they did the same thing with him, because, you know, they said in the comics that Kang the Conqueror is historically white, but then they were upset with Jonathan Majors. I don't think Jonathan Majors received that much of a pushback because, you know, he's that great of an actor. I mean, I'm sure there was pushback there, but I didn't really see anything like that coming from him. He was one of the few exceptions where people didn't really mind it that much. But yeah, and this also goes back to a lot of these white boys out here saying they will not replace us, and white genocide. I didn't know getting cast in a movie was going to kill you, because I'm like, are y'all about to redefine genocide now? I leave it up to them. I guess they are. But, you know, they colonized the word woke. Why not colonize the word genocide to make it into whatever it is that you want? But see, again, it's going back to what they want. The colonizer is a selfish group. And that is the end of the article. Well, my point of this whole thing is, remember there was a time, and probably still a little bit now, but I don't really hear it as much, where a lot of white people said, I don't see color. We need to move towards a color blind society. I want to live in a world where race is not a factor. And it's like, okay. However, and this is where the hypocrisy kicks in, and y'all know where I'm headed with this. They do see color when it's black people involved in something that historically belongs to them. And that is these comics and these characters. Then they see color. Then it's no longer colorblind. They take the blinders off then. Talking about, I live in a colorblind society. Okay, we're gonna cast this black actor to play this character that in the comics was not black. Oh, this nigga here. That's literally what they're saying. I bet you they're probably saying that behind closed doors. They probably wish they could say it online. But they already know what'll happen if they have their innermost thoughts spew out into the public. I say do it, because we prefer our white supremacists out in the open. Now, the consequence of what you're going to do is completely on you, and then they're going to cry, but that was my freedom of speech, and you violated. Well, you must then read the fine print. Yes, you can say whatever the hell you want to say, but if there are consequences, and there probably will be, that is entirely on you. And that's another thing they wish they can go back to, saying whatever it is they want to say about black people without getting checked. But it is what it is. But that's really all it boils down to. They claim they want to live in a society where race wasn't a factor. Keep in mind, they created the caste system in the hierarchy of race, of who is superior and who is inferior. You can't renege on it now. You've benefited for so long, and that's the other point they're mad about. They feel like they're losing their stronghold on racism and white supremacy. in all of its aspects. They thought they were going to rule forever. And they're finding that their grip is starting to weaken. It's starting to slip away from them. And they can't handle it. The only thing they can do that'll benefit them when it comes to a film like this is not watch it. But see, the thing about these films is they have a continuity thing. So when where one leaves off, another one's going to kick in, and it's going to keep you guessing, and it makes you wonder what's going to happen. I find it interesting because I remember when this trailer first dropped, I was looking at the comment section. I didn't see anybody really commenting about this man's race. As a matter of fact, I didn't see any at all. So now what's the problem? The movie comes out in like 2 months or 2.5 months and you're upset now? Again, fake, phony outrage from fake and phony people. Again, go watch Professor Black Truth's Moment of Truth that he did about these geeks and gamers. Yes, I said their name because they're the main ones who cry and whine and bitch, moan and complain about any little thing that is not white, but preferably black in these comics or in these movies. You heard that one comment I went over. Why couldn't they cast another minority, an Asian or a Latino or an Indian? Anybody but that Negro. Anyone but that N-word. And this is what kills me about what is his name? Idris Elba. That's what kills me about the comment he made a couple weeks ago that I had to do that unfortunate bed bucking video on. I'm talking about I don't want to be seen as the black actor. I just want to be seen as an actor. Fool! Here you have another black actor from via Nigeria, born in Britain, who's facing backlash. Idris Elba, did you or did you not face backlash when you was cast as Heimdall in Thor? Because I think I saw some little bits here. I don't know if it really spread that much. But Heimdall, if y'all didn't know, in the comics is not black. And I think Idris Elba faced some backlash behind him being casted in that role. But then again, they didn't give Heimdall much to work with in the Thor movies. I mean, I think the most he ever did was in the third movie, and even then he didn't do much. And then when they tried to give him something a little bit to do at the beginning of Infinity War, they killed him. But Idris was glad to leave. As a matter of fact, I don't even think he went to the premiere of Infinity War. He said he was just done with the MCU. He was just done with that character. If I was handed stuff like that, I would too. But back to the original point. Here you have a Nigerian, British-born actor who is a black man. And Idris, who's from over there as well, saying the stuff that he said. I wonder what he has to say now when it comes to this. If he even cares. They see you. They see you, black man. Despite how much you don't want to hold on to the label of black actor like you claim. When you get casted in these movies, and if they don't like it, they're going to call you everything but a child of God. And black actor is one of the people or actor is one of the things they're not going to call you. That's a good politically correct response to give, but it's not going to mean anything to a price of tea in China. I didn't mean to go off on a tangent with, bringing Idris back into the equation, but I felt that was perfect to bring him in considering the two actors right here. As far, Idris and this man, Chukwudi Iwuji. But that's pretty much all I have as it pertains to this. They're going to continue to do it. And the funny thing about it is, this movie's still going to make a lot of money. And when it does, I'm going to laugh even harder because it's like y'all say all of this stuff, but the movie still makes bank. I also wanted to insert this part in here that this is a picture of the High Evolutionary in the comics. This is the character that the actor is playing. This is what he looks like. He's literally made of metal. He almost looks like a cross between Doctor Doom and Colossus a little bit. That's who and what he looks like. This is what they're getting upset about. And I also found this other image of him right here where he has a face, which I guess is a different version of him. He looks pretty melanated to me. They are talking just to hear themselves talk, and they're making not one lick of sense, and they're making themselves sound more dumber than they look.